Hello there, everybody. It's Robert Ohado. Welcome to Social Live Friday, our first social live where we're streaming to both Facebook and YouTube. So hi, YouTube people. It's nice to be here for YouTube Live and Facebook Live. So now it's Social Live Friday. I used to do just Facebook Live Friday. I'm expanding my horizons, getting ready for 2021. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to just make sure that everything's streaming okay and that everyone's hearing me. Okay, cool. Everyone's seeing me. I actually have some production help today, so hopefully that'll help me dial in any issues we have. By the way, I can see your comments in this incredible new software I have. So hi, everybody. Hi, Amy Burchett, Nars Rakasa. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Lori from Jersey. We've got Shilpa. What's up, Shilpa? We got tons of people here. Thank you. So give a shout out. Let me know where you're from, and I'll just kind of dive in a little bit into what we're going to do today. So many of you know, I'm a professional intuitive, more a teacher now than anything. I used to do intuitive readings professionally for all sorts of people, from Fortune 500 companies. I used to work with them, to Oprah's team, to all sorts of people. And now I just mostly teach because I really want to get you able to tap into your own intuition and really use it for yourself. I believe all of us are intuitive, and all of us have a skill set around this capacity to hear the truth. Now, that's really key because in today's Social Live, we're talking about this upcoming new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius that's happening on Monday. You've probably heard about it. We're in eclipse season. We just had a full moon lunar eclipse, and now we're rolling over into a new moon solar eclipse. So, come on, my Duran Duran fans. It's new moon on Monday. You better be playing that song on Monday. Someone posted that underneath in the Facebook comments on Facebook, and I freaking love Duran Duran. I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl a few years ago, and incredible. They sound better than they did in the 80s. Anyway, aside from my Duran Duran fan crushes, I don't even know. I'm speechless when it comes to Duran Duran. Let's talk about what this is really about. And I said just a minute ago, this is about intuition, right? So, a lot of what I do now is to help you listen to your own intuition. Well, this upcoming new moon and this eclipse that's ahead is really about that. It's about your relationship to the truth and your relationship to your own intuitive system. So I'm going to explain why, and let's just come into the fold around what I do within this tool, astrology. Now, many of you know I work with astrology in a very different way, one that's upgraded for this archetypal intuitive age, multisensory age we actually live in. So I don't use astrology in that medieval sense of planets causing things to happen, although I might slip into causative language here and there because it's more descriptive. But this is a moment of synchronicity, if you want to really get technically clear. It's about what is happening on Monday that is lining up, as we can see from the sky, right from Earth to the sky, but lining up inside of you. What is this eclipse in you about? Because that's really what's true. It's both happening out there and happening inside of you at the same time. And therefore, it's a synchronicity. We're within the psychic law of synchronicity when it comes to looking at any astrological phenomena. In fact, astrology is a tool of synchronicity. So keep that in mind as I speak about what's ahead and what it's going to bring up and what this moment of synchronicity is really about, because it really is. And it can feel like, and I suppose one could use the language that the planets cause things to happen, because there literally is an energetic process in motion with every astrological phenomena. Whatever's happening in the sky is happening inside of you, and therefore happening in the psychic field of culture and life and, everywhere around us. So but keep in mind, keep your power straight. I don't want you to ever disempower yourself with astrology or look at things as if you're the victim of planetary causality and planetary alignment. No, this is about how can you be a co-creator in it? What is this about in terms of a set of celestial instructions, if you want to look at it that way, which we will? What is this about in terms of understanding the energetics of a moment, the psychic forces activated in a moment, in a process? And you're in this process. You incarnated into this dimension and you're fused to these cycles of energy. And these cycles of energy are archetypal. So what are the archetypal coordinates of this upcoming December 14th? New Moon Solar Eclipse in Sagittarius. That's what we're looking at. So what does it all mean? I got you. I got you for the Social Life Friday. We're going to talk about that in some really good depth. So gather around now. Before we get going, it's really important that you understand the role of intuition, period. You know, Sagittarius as an archetype. Let me just put up a little panel for you because I think I have this left over from my last module in my membership, and I wanted to show it to you all. Where'd you go, Sagittarius? Here we go. We'll see if this works out. I'm rolling with the flow here, y'all. So, you know, trying new stuff. Here we go. Hopefully it'll work. There we go. Sagittarius. Now, if you look at, you know, all these signs. Now, I've talked in great depth about astrology signs, and I just did a free 2-part series on this. It's no longer available actually after today, but in my Your Intuitive Edge Premium membership, I did a 6-hour, actually longer than that, 9-hour module on the luminaries, the sun and the moon in your birth chart. Now, let me just talk about Sagittarius straight up as an archetype, as a force of creation within life. It is one of the 12 fundamental creative forces that we engage in this life. And what it's about is your intuition. It's about the truth. It's about truth as an archetype, as an alive force in your life. So when we're talking about intuition, you know, one of the things to keep in mind is that I'm talking about your capacity to tell the truth, to know what's true, to thrive in your truth, to be guided by the truth. Now, we got a pause button on this because, you know, here's what's true. We live in a new world where people for various reasons, whether that's political tribalism or victim consciousness or fill in your own blank. We all do this as human beings. We like the truth on our own terms, not its terms. So I'm beginning to layer out what this new moon's about, because it's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about intuition. It's about the archetype of truth. Now, I'm going to break truth down into 4 levels. But here's what you have to, if you really want to understand what this is about and your opportunity in this energy. It is about you going, you know what? I'm being called to look at my current relationship to truth. And this is a new moon. And it's an eclipse, which I'm going to break down in a sec. But what's on offer in terms of a new relationship to truth? I don't know if you've ever considered how fundamental your relationship to truth is to your potential. It is absolutely essential and fundamental. And yet, we got to understand the coordinates of where we are. Now, what's true is we've always been challenged as human beings in our relationship to the truth. As soon as Galileo came around and said the world was actually round, people had such a conflict with that. They put his head on a chopping block, right? So this is we all have that in us, that part of us that will put the truth on a chopping block and cut off its head. You got to know that side of you. And you could turn to me and say, well, I'm more woke, Robert. Hello, I'm watching you. Yeah, but you still have this. We all have this in us. We have this part of a part in us that says, you know, that truth's a bit too inconvenient for me. So off with their head. Now, I want to frame this because we've always had this. This is part of being human. We have a bit of a precarious relationship with the truth. Why? Is the next question. Why is that so? Well, there's multiple reasons, but let me get some main veins rolling here. One is the truth changes your life. We often hear the truth will set you free, but free from what? Free from what? This is where we're headed. Free from what exactly? So this new moon is saying, yeah, do you want to set yourself free from the truth? Do you even know what you're getting free from? And do you know what's on the other side of that, in that freedom? Well, it's entering the unknown of your potential. It's entering the unknown of your life. And we're creatures as human beings trying to survive that like the known. far more than the unknown. When people said, hey, the world's no longer actually flat, it's round, they couldn't take that in. They couldn't metabolize a round world. What the hell? I don't know. That's too unknown. Chop their heads off. Blasphemy. So you have to come to know that part of yourself that does the same exact thing in an era where our social media feeds us loops of self-referenced truth. When you get on Netflix, when you get on Facebook, when you get on YouTube, the algorithms track what you think truth is and feed you more. Yes, they do. So do your news media sources. This is the new danger zone we're in. So when you say, oh, I have a pretty healthy relationship to the truth, I could read you and go, you do you? I see you self-selecting convenient truth and pushing out inconvenient truth over to the side. And this is what we have to understand. This is what this new moon highlights, is that in doing that, which we all do in our own way, and are fed through the algorithm, this is not even sometimes a conscious choice for us. It's just what these algorithms have now produced. Self-selected truth feeds. What did I just say? Self-selected reality feeds. Because your truth, what you believe to be true, what you have come to know as true, is the glue of your reality, if not the generator of it. And this is why we don't like the truth, because we don't want to have to go and redraw maps of reality. We don't want to have to go and redraw a map of what was once a flat world and now it's a round one. Forget it. So what's also true is we have in us a longing for truth. There's something in our soul that says, I need to know the truth. I need to be in truth. So you've got this ego survival pattern, this ego-based five-sensory psychological survival pattern that wants to select and deal only in convenient truths that reflect back the reality perhaps your victim wants, or your political tribalism wants, or your views on things like, and this is the thing, this is going to be triggering. Let me just lay down the territory. When we start dealing with truth, you might as well just get ready to be triggered, because truth is triggering. Think about any time a hardcore truth came into your life. You found out your spouse was cheating on you. You found out that you had a health issue or crisis that was on the move in your body. You found out what someone really thought about you. You tell me you weren't triggered? Oh yeah, you were. Of course you were. So I want to set down the compassionate territory right here for this new moon eclipse that's ahead and tell you this is a trigger point. And I would just reframe triggering more positively, and I think more truthfully, as, hey, every trigger is an opportunity to have a new relationship with the truth. And therefore, every trigger is an opportunity to grow into new potential, because that's exactly how we do grow into new potential, through the truth. So you in? This new moon solar eclipse says, are you in? And you might, part of you go, hell no. Part of you go, hell yes. And what you want to know is, if you're in, you can make space for the party that's afraid of the truth. We can have compassion and hold that with lots of love, but the truth is still the truth. The danger zone we're in now, and this, I think this new moon eclipse is bringing up, and will continue to bring up. I mean, let's frame this out. Here's my way of rolling with astrology forever and always. This is not some celestial system in the sky that we sit around and throw adjectives at and box things in and coat over things and say it's this way because astrology says so. My way of working with astrology is as an intuitive tool of truth, is to help us see patterns timing of patterns, cycles of energy, and our own soul contracts in this realm. The timing of those contracts, the timing of our potential unfolding, the timing of our purpose expanding, shifting, going to a new flow chart of destiny. That's what astrology is to me. So what did I just say? I just said astrology is what you and I live. So if you came to this wanting some way to escape the way life is, I don't have that for you. Sorry. And I will talk about triggering stuff. I can't help myself. That's my purpose, is to be a truth teller, is to bring truth forward and talk about it through whatever tool I'm using. This time it just happens to be astrology. And you can love me, hate me, but I'm good with that because I know I care about you. I know that the truth does indeed set you free. I know if I trigger you, it's probably the best thing that's happened to you in a long time. So good. You can go write crap about me on social media and all that stuff. That's fine with me. I had enough esteem for that. This is about you. And through this new moon solar eclipse opportunity, exploring what is true for you. What is your truth? And to know that your mind's going to have a cover story of truth. So listen to it, make note of it, and then move right the hell on to your intuition. Go to your shadow, go deeper. Because that's where it's at. That said, we're going in. Buckle in. This is like a space shuttle blasting off to new truth. And I'm not necessarily here to tell you what your truth is. I think as a teacher, I'm here to teach you how to engage your intuition and your intuitive channels so that you actually do sense and know what the truth is. And here's what we got to know about the truth, all of us, is it has an energetics to it. Energy does not lie. So you can bring your fears to it. You can bring your political tribalism to the truth. You can bring your any kind of tribalism, any kind of fundamentalist. This is how it is. This is what my tribe thinks. This is the truth to the truth. And you're going to know whether you're in the truth zone because of the energy. Politicians can sit there and get on TV. And the thing is they can say one thing, but their energy is always going to tell the truth. Can you see that? Can you look past your need to be Democrat or Republican or whatever it is in your country and see what they're actually saying and what the truth of their energy is saying? Can you? This is where we are. You want to know what this new moon solar eclipse is about? We're in it. We're living it. These are the coordinates that we live in a time right now where if people don't like the truth, they try to go sue so that the truth can just get overridden and wiped out. Now, where are you that way? Where are you making others wrong so you can be right? And in being right, you don't have to deal with any other truth than the one you want. So moving into the 4 levels of truth I'm going to teach you that are held within the Sagittarian archetypal zone, you have to then go, okay, well, what is my truth? What is true for me? How do I know it's even the truth? I'm pretty good at self-deception. We all got that game down. You're going to know because of the energy. You might know because it triggers you. You might know because, ooh, actually, that's not what I wanted to hear. But your intuitive system is going to go, yeah, but it is the truth. It's just what's true. Now, let me bring some astrological coordinates in here and actually show you the actual chart of this new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And I'm going to keep talking and bringing in, I'm going to weave in a few astrological coordinates here. What I just offered you is a primer for Sagittarian energy. So what's a new moon? A new moon is when the moon lines up in such a way with the sun that the sun isn't hitting its light on it and we can't see that light reflected here on Earth. There's such an astronomical alignment that the sun isn't really lighting the moon from our vantage point. From the sun's vantage point, it's actually a full moon. I'm lighting you fully up. And that's always true, really. But from our vantage point, it's like that moon just went black. So what are new moons, just without an eclipse, what are new moons about? They are about new beginnings that are found in the shadow. The moon's completely black in a new moon. We're in the midnight of shadow territory here. That's a new moon. It's if I go to the shadow, there's my new beginning. So pause button now, translate to your life right now. Where in your life do you feel it? You feel it active in your field. You feel it active in your psyche. It's active in your dreams. It's active in your synchronicities. That there's this new energy pulsing, and I know, intuitively, you know, the new beginnings found in the shadow. So what's your relationship like with your own personal shadow? What's your relationship like with also group shadow energy? The shadow energy of groups, society. Go bigger. Because all that's also pulling into your own shadow. And in fact, it's oftentimes culture itself that's helped us create our shadow. Hey, shove all this stuff over into the dark. A little too inconvenient. We don't know how to be with the messiness of being human. We're going to stick with fundamentalist either or thinking you're either good or bad. So shove everything over there that's bad. Don't look. Oh, but you can project on other people, make them bad, make them wrong. And you walk away free from being bad because they're bad, you're not. Am I not naming cultural patterning here? Cultural psychic mechanics. So the new moon says in Sagittarius, says, okay, it's time for some shadow work. You want to look in the dark? Because that's where your new beginning is. Now, what about the eclipse? An eclipse is a little more heightened. Every new moon is going to be this way. And then it's going to be activating this look into the shadow for new beginnings process in the sign it's in. And when you're in a new moon, both the sun and the moon are in the same sign because they're lined up in the exact same spot. But when an eclipse hits, it's a level up because it's a disruption of the usual patterns and energetics you live in. When you think about what's going on astronomically in an eclipse, most notably this time, a solar eclipse. The moon here's Earth. My hand's Earth. My phone is Earth. My hand, let's use my hand. And here comes the moon, and let's just say you're the sun. Here comes the moon, and it blocks the sun and its frequencies, literal energetics. It's energy. It interrupts it for a minute from hitting the earth the way it usually would and blocks it. Not only that, if you're in the actual path of this eclipse, it blocks the light, right? So what does that mean? It means that this is a moment of synchronicity where your usual relationship with truth is getting eclipsed. It's getting blocked. It's like something coming in and going, I'm cutting you off for a minute here. You need to go dark because you got to start a new beginning. And this usual relationship with truth, this usual way you roll, ain't cutting it. Your potential asks more of you. Your grace asks more of you. So I'm going to constellate through synchronicity, situations, experiences, just moods, energy, feeling, whatever, just to interrupt you for a minute and have you ask some questions like, what the F are you doing here? What's your purpose? Is what you're doing now, how you're rolling, the best your grace can do? What's your relationship like with truth? What's up? Now, let me bring in this chart because this is where I'm going to add in some more threads for you that I think are really, really essential to understand while we roll through all of this. This is the actual chart. And I bring it up for those of you who know astrology, you'll see this readily. Those of you who don't, you can just listen and know that I'm going to tell you what it all means in like 5 seconds. But we've got Pluto in Capricorn, right next to Jupiter in Capricorn, and Saturn in Capricorn, as part of the energy of this new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. It's not just the Sagittarius anchor we want to look at, although that is probably the most important and vocal of the energies. But you have to understand in what moment of time and the patterns alive right now is this actual eclipse occurring? What processes have been already, are right now active? And when I look at that Pluto, Jupiter, and Capricorn, and rather Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn in Capricorn that are part of this conversation, you know what I see? I see a culture, a society, groups, and you struggling with karma, struggling with how do we get here? How do we create our lives really? How does karma actually really work? Not only that, what's the co-creative relationship between truth and karma? And most notably, my relationship to the truth and the karma that relationship produces in my life and also into the world. You know, I did a really deep dive into COVID-19 when it first hit in March and April, and I did an online event called Decoding Our First One World Synchronicity. Maybe many of you were there. Thousands of people took it and showed up. It was free. And it's still online if you want to go find it. And what I explored is similar to where we have come full circle now. Let me frame it through this. Let's get into what's happening in our lives. What's the karma of COVID-19? If everything happens for a reason, very Sagittarian thing to say, why did this happen? Now, there's truths to that. Some of them you wouldn't be able to have a relationship with. You're too politically tribal. You're too collapsed down and thinking things happen in a certain way that they don't. You can't see the holographic nature of karma moving through your life, let alone the world. So what I attempted to do in that event was thread it out, map it. These are the karmic forces and factors. And I watched a lot of my sin that spin up into conspiracy theory because they couldn't handle the fire of truth behind this whole entire pandemic. So I'm not going to go into that here. If you want to go explore that, like I said, go Google around. But I'll tell you, there are karmic factors in the atmosphere that you may not like, but that doesn't mean they don't do what they do. Karma doesn't care whether you like it or not, doesn't actually care if you're a good person or not. It is an equation-based formula. And it's much more dynamic and complex than you've ever learned in terms of a punitive idea of it. It doesn't actually dull in these ideas of punishment and reward. It doesn't work that way. It's far too complex. But it does have at its baseline this truth of choice, action, energetic movement equals consequence. Equals consequence. So when you take a step back and look at the world and look at your life in the world karmically, which is what Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are pushing us to do. It's like, do you want to deal with the shadow side of your karmic equations? And then this Sagittarian new moon says, yeah, and how your conditional relationship with truth is generating a certain karma into your life and actually the whole world. You ready to take the reins of that? Or are you going to stay in spin and spell that the culture has taught you and continues to teach you all the time? Are you going to stay in your own self-selected algorithmic truth feeds? I want you to consider something profound. What would it take right now in our divisive, divided, everyone's in their own bubble of reality world? What would it actually take for us to come together into one agreed upon reality or one agreed upon truth? What would that take? Because what the truth is, right now we're in a pandemic, and even that isn't enough to get us on the page of one reality and one truth. Like the COVID-19 virus kills people and is real. We can't even come together on that reality as a one world. We can't. Even though there are people ending up in ERs. I have a friend who is a doctor, and I'm hearing stories of people in emergency rooms with full-blown COVID-19, and they're going to die. Still saying it's a hoax while they're taking their last breaths. That's what they're focused on. They can't come to one reality that says this is real. Now, that's the macro. What about your life and the micro? Where in your life can you not just come to an agreed truth, an agreed reality staring back at you from your own karma, and you still can't look it in the eye? There's another spin, there's another spell, there's another political tribe that will offer you whatever you want, but not what's true. Hey, you can go scapegoat truth tellers or the truth or project and blame, but karma doesn't give a shit. It's still going to do you and perhaps do you in. You want to know what this new moon's about? You want to know what this new moon solar eclipse is about? It's about this. It's what we're living right now. It is about our inability to come together and agree upon a unified collective truth, let alone the mystical one that we are all interconnected. We can't even agree upon that. Now, you got to find your own coordinates here. Once again, this is shadow territory. This is what new moons are. It's when we're called to go dark. We got to go dark at 23 degrees Sagittarius in us and go, well, shit, what is my relationship with truth like? What is that? Where do I need a new one? Now, you want to know where you need a new one? Look no further, says Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, than your karma. Look no further than your karma. Because it's already screaming at you. Hey, you want more of this? Do you really want more of this? How low do you want to go with me? Says your karma. What bottom is going to finally hit you enough to wake up to there's a round world truth trying to happen in your system? Wake the F up. How low you want to go? Because we're headed to Hades now, says Pluto. We're going down. You want to go down that far? Most people don't come back. There's some bottoms you don't come back from. Ask any dead addict. So what's it going to be? If you say, okay, I'm willing to go dark. I got to go. Let's do this. Let's go down to the underworld. Let's look at my relationship to truth. Let's let a new one start to happen. I'm in. Yeah, eclipse me. Interrupt me. COVID-19 itself was its own eclipse for the whole entire world. It was an interruption. And this is just one level of understanding it. An interruption of the usual patterns, the usual way we tribe up and then screw each other over while we do it. The way we get played by political spin and spell, such that we actually now start to feel like we're a battered spouse with our politicians. Well, they only beat me some of the time, so I'm still going to stay with them. Instead of going, I deserve better than you. We all do. Because look at the karma in the room from you. I'm done. So this is really about a struggle, a struggle to through going dark, then reactivate a new light. And you can't negotiate this with your wounded ego or your political tribalism or your biases or whatever else you might pull out of your usual, defenses to the truth. Because the karma is the karma. And honestly, I would just tell you as your guide, you're just going to make yourself suffer more. Aren't you done? When are you done? What will your bottom be? What's it going to be? COVID-19 comes along and says, hey, what is the whole world's bottom going to be? You all can't act like one world. That's where we are going, like it or not. That is the meta pattern in motion. This is Age of Aquarius coming in. This is the dominant creative pattern coming into ascendancy on this planet. You're going to start acting like one world. Let's see what this pandemic will do. You're going to act like one world now? My own country can't even act like one country, let alone come to agreed upon truths. And that's where we are, right? You see that, don't you? This is it. So let's look at, and you're like, okay, I thought it was going to be fun, but yeah, the truth will set you free, but free from what? Let's come back to that question. Free from what? You know what sets you free from? It sets you free from the karma of your illusions, the karma of your self-lying and denying. That's what it sets you free from. It sets you free from an old, dysfunctional, misaligned relationship with the truth. So do you want to be free? Can you give up your biases for freedom? Because here's the thing. This seems to be a truth about freedom, right? That to be free, something seems to always have to be sacrificed. And let me reframe that. Yeah, that seems to be an equation-based truth for freedom. But what's sacrifice mean? It means to make sacred. It means to give up something that's getting in the way of your relationship with truth, of your relationship to being able to actively co-create reality in a mystically aligned, soul-centered way. You want that or not? Says this new moon. You want it? Well, then your old relationship to truth is going to need to go dark. You're going to have to give it up. You willing to do that? It's no accident that on Monday, December 14th, my own country has the Electoral College vote as to whether or not Joe Biden actually won this election. You think that's an accident? That's synchronicity. Whether we can agree as one country that this was indeed a secure election. There has been no fraud presented, but only speculation and psychic viral spin. So you want to put a synchronicity of truth on the map? There's one. And I know I have a worldwide audience, so what about you? And just personally to yourself, beyond that meta collective moment, what's true for you? What are the consequences of you living in a misalignment with truth? They're already happening in your life, so look around. Now, let's talk about truth from 4 levels, shall we? So I can hopefully really get you grounded in everything here. And then you can run it through your own intuitive system. And over the weekend, I would spend the next few days taking what I'm saying and reading yourself, intuitively reading yourself. So let me give you some more coordinates to help that out. When it comes to truth, we have 4 levels of truth I want to present to you. There's personal. Let's start with the personal level of truth. That's relative to you. It's personal to you. So as a child growing up, what's true for me personally is that I was abused by alcoholic parents. That's a personal truth for me. But is that true for all children? Are all children abused by alcoholic parents? No, it's a personal truth to me. It's also personally true to me that I'm a gay man. Is everyone gay? No. But it's one of my personal truths. Go down the list. I mean, that's personal truth. Your experiences are part of your personal truth. And it's just personally true. Maybe you have allergies, your personal truth. Your physical health, personal truth. Maybe you're very athletically inclined and skilled. That's a personal truth for you. What are your personal truths? You know them already. They're right in the room with you right now. They're watching me. They're probably shaking around, some of them. You might say, well, what's personally true is I'm a Democrat or Republican. Okay, that's a personal truth for you. Now we move from there to relative truth. So relative truth is connected to personal truth, but it expands out a bit and becomes relative to you in the world. So for me right now, it's 3:11 p.m. in Aspen, Colorado. And yet, you know what? That's relative to me because guess what? That's not the same time right now in Frankfurt, Germany. It's not the same time in Sydney, Australia. It's a relative truth. Is it absolutely true for me that it's now 3:12 p.m.? Absolutely. But it's not true there. They're already on the next day in Australia, and they're already, headed to midnight over there in London, France, Germany, Switzerland. So, relative truth. It's relative to where you're at. What were your relative truths in your 20s? Relative truths in your 30s? Relative truths now in your 40s? This truth is fluid. It's a verb. Doesn't mean it's any less true that it's 3:12 p.m. for me, but I know it's not the truth. So I'm not going to go tell people in Sydney, Australia, what's wrong with you? It's 3:12 p.m. in the afternoon. And then get into tribal warfare over time zones. But it's exactly what we do. It's exactly what we do. To someone who's a vegan vegetarian, it's true for them that eating animals just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. End of story. But then that may not be true for someone who doesn't feel that. That's not their truth. Someone may feel that, let's go there. Let's get in the grit. Someone may feel that, you know what? I just have this belief that all vaccines are bad. Someone else be like, that's just not my truth. A lot of what we see happening in culture, speaking of which, is a battle of relative truth. This must be true for you because it's true for me. No, it doesn't have to be true for me. Why does it have to be true for me? Now, what happens in the midst of relative truth is that other force comes in. It's called soul contract truth, which is connected to universal truth, which is the end game. Soul contract truth means in my destiny this lifetime, it's simply my nature to be a gay man. I didn't choose it. Did you choose to be straight? When was that? What was that like for you? Because I don't have a memory of me ever choosing my sexuality. So you go, I don't, me either. Exactly. On a soul level, I chose this journey to be in this body, in this psyche, in this personality, in all that my experiences for reasons that deal in service to others and also my soul's growth and expansion. I'm in soul contract truth here. Also, might be my soul contract never to move past fundamentalist religion. I'm never getting past black or white thinking and God is damning and wrathful in this lifetime. I don't have the wires for it. I don't have the psychology for it. I don't have the intuitive system for it. So count me out. I'm going to go to the world is flat tribe. And I will stay there my whole lifetime. That's just my soul contract. Then you have universal truth. True for all of us. Is the climate warming? True for all of us. Yes, it is. Are we in a solar system on a planet? Yeah, all of us are. Is there a force called gravity that affects everybody? Yep, check. Do all of us age and die? Yeah, death is a truth. Aging is a truth. Universal for everyone in this experience of being on Earth. So, get it? When you look at what's true for you, this is the terrain. There's personal truth. There's relative truth that's connected to personal truth. Then hop up into soul contract truth, true for your destiny, true for your purpose, true for your potential this lifetime. And then there's this universal truth that binds us all. And our struggles, our Sagittarian struggles right now, are how do we accommodate all these truths? What happens when my truth takes your truth away and shuts you down? What happens when there is a truth that's objectively true? I see it, you don't. You create a story about it and pass it off as political propaganda. How about a truth like, hey, Jews are rats. They should all be exterminated. That used to be a truth about 80 years ago. Alive, taking them out. And was supposed to be a world truth. Thank God it never got that far. Or how about the truths like, well, if you're black, you're less than white? And how people pull back into any way they can to not be with the inconvenient truths of society and culture now. To find a new meme, a new meme, a new spin, a new spell, a new political twist, rather than tell the fucking truth. Where are you at with this? Where are you feeding lies? Where are you breaking them down? This is the new moon. This is it. This is where we are. This is the energy. We are in the question of what's true. How do we know what's true? How do we now negotiate coming together in a shared, common, and accepted reality when we now can seemingly select our truths? And here's the thing you got to know. You can't actually do that. Not for too long, because karma does karma and it does catch up. So I would encourage you this weekend, spend some time exploring the nature of your relationship to the truth. What's true for you? Where are you at with that? Where do you have your own inner truth spin team, your karmic spin team, your own inner news feed that just feeds you what you want to hear, even if that isn't what's true? And the next thing I'd have you ask is, what are the consequences of that? Do you understand how karma is moving in your life because of your relationship with truth? Do you? Now, I want to recommend that all of you see this next Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma. It is an incredible study of truth in the social media age. If you have Netflix, absolutely riveting breakdown of where we are and how we got here and what needs to shift. Folks, you do get, we're going to do each other in. You do get, we are going to lose democracies over these debates. You do understand that's what's on the line, right? Because it is. What have you wanted to be true in the past? Let's do some anchoring here. What do you want? What do you want to be true right now? Why do you want something to be true? What drives that in you? Can you look to truth as a force and go, I'm open. Show me the truth. Let's get to the light of this. This very shadow door we went through, and very shadow entry, and rightfully so. New moons are shadow doors. You've probably never heard that before, but that's what they are. They're shadow doors. And eclipses open up like a new level of Hades. So hence my tone. But yeah, the truth will set you free. It'll set you free from illusion, pain, confusion, all the symptoms you experience when you're not in alignment with what's really true. And I want to just bring some compassion here. We're all going to have our denial teams, our inner spin teams, our inabilities to be with the truth directly. That's part of being human. Just know that. I think what this new moon is saying is have compassion for that, but also begin to cultivate a capacity, a new capacity, just to be in a direct relationship with the truth. It is a time right now that is so dangerous. You've got to be so discerning about what you let into your psyche. I'll watch people tell me all about their direct relationship with their intuitive system and truth, and then 5 minutes later, tell me all about this new conspiracy theory they actually believe. When I read the energy of that immediately and go, there's nothing to that. You're in a spell. And my question is, why do you want a spell instead of the truth? Because you do. Now, one of the things you'll need to look at in all of this is also what karmic systems you're part of. The beauty of arriving, the light of embracing a new truth. I mean, how many times? So let's talk about this. How many times have you felt yourself finally tell the truth about something? Remember that feeling of just telling the truth about something, or finally telling someone the truth. Like when I first started coming out as a gay man and finally telling people the truth about me. Just that soul sigh of, now I can get into the journey of a new karmic path of potential. I can be myself. I can move out of the zone of suicide or depression or self-hate and begin healing into the zone of an empowered, loving person, able now to receive a romantic interest into my life because I'm finally telling the truth. Maybe you had to tell the truth about an addiction or being an addict. And you can finally go, the sober sigh. Finally can start cultivating a new path to presence and to mystically engaged living and to finally feeling my feelings and metabolizing and integrating trauma and that sigh, soul sigh of when we tell the truth. That's the light here. What will your soul sigh be on Monday? If you're in denial, if you're in a lie, if you're not in truth on its terms, your system's already telling you I would just point you to what patterns manage your lies, what patterns in you manage your denial. A lot of times it is our addict, it is our codependent, it is our political tribalist, we got patterns online managing lies. Get to know them. That's how you're going to know you're not in truth. You're not going to feel a lot of acceptance in your system. You're not going to feel a lot of compassion. You've got to defend your lies. You're going to be extra narcissistic, extra controlling, extra perfectionist. These are the patterns that come online to manage your lies, your denial. So the light is you can let them have a day off. Hopefully a year off, a lifetime off, if you're lucky. When you think of this new moon that's coming up in Sagittarius, I want you to feel through what this is about is a new truth system. So let's talk intuition, which is, in the territory of Sagittarius, intuition. I've said, and I just did an interview with a colleague of mine named Joey Thurman, who's going to be on my social live next Friday. I'm going to have my first guest. And he was asking me about intuition for his particular audience. And I said, let me just say this about intuition so that we don't get caught up in any illusions about it. It's really just the capacity to tell the truth. When I do intuitive readings on people, I'm reading your shadow. I'm reading what the truths that are inconvenient for you. I'm reading what you don't want to hear, that you've shoved into the dark. That's why you're coming to me. I can't hear my inner voice. Yeah, because you locked it in the closet because you don't like the truth it tells you. So intuition and truth-telling are one and the same in a lot of ways, and certainly go hand in hand. Your capacity to do clear intuitive reads on yourself and others and life and your karma. It comes down to how truthful can you be. I've watched people, and it's astounding to me, to be honest, be so brilliant, so intellectually sharp, and then buy into conspiracy theories, buy into political bias, and triple down on it, and lose family members for it, and suffer great karmic consequences in their own life. They lose their health care. They lose, and yet they can't get it. They can't read it because they can't be with a certain truth. You have to understand how much momentum is in your programming, and that will absolutely keep you from clear intuitive reads. So this new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, in part, is about you need a new truth system, one that is intuitive, one that sees the holographic nature of karmic forces more than you currently do. To understand, well, if I vote for this politician, that politician, maybe they stand up for one thing I believe in, but then you know what else they do? They pollute the environment. They go kill wildlife. They repeal all these other protections for animals. That's also part of the karma of your vote. Do you get that? Do you care? So what happens to you when you're not able to align to greater truth? What happens? Let's use a real basic example here. What would happen if you decided, I'm just no longer going to believe in gravity? That's a little inconvenient. I want to fly. So from here on out, gravity is fake news. Fake news couldn't be faker. There's a force that the Earth's core pulls in and keeps us on the planet. Fake news, man. So I'm going to go on that cliff up there, hike up, and jump off and fly. Okay. You're going to fall down and you're going to smack the ground because there's a greater truth that's called gravity, and it doesn't care about what you want it to be or what you think it should be, or how you feel entitled to fly. It's just going to pull your ass right down to the ground. Now, I want you to think of truth that way. Just because you don't like it or it's inconvenient doesn't make it untrue. And when you finally go, there's gravity. There is a law on this planet, a force called gravity. Guess what? Guess what you just set yourself up for? Check this out. You just set yourself up to go design an airplane that can work with it, but yet rise above it. Still being checked by gravity, but now you're working with gravity, and you can propel yourself from one location to another in more than half the time. But you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't acknowledge the law of gravity first. You can't build a space shuttle or a rocket to get out of this Earth's gravitational field until you acknowledge it exists as a truth. All this, just act like it isn't there and just shoot your rocket anyway. No. You won't know what kind of propulsion that rocket's going to need. You won't know exactly the right equation when it comes to how much fuel that rocket's going to need, the size of its engines. You got nothing. You got nothing for liftoff. But if you sat down and studied gravity, studied the truth of that law, you got something. You got something that one day you can engineer how to use that law, work with that law, and shoot your rocket and get liftoff. That's exactly how truth rolls in your life. Exactly. As soon as you admit, yeah, my spouse isn't in love with me anymore. They're cheating on me. As soon as you admit that, now you got somewhere to go. Now you got some engineering you can do on what your next steps of potential are. As soon as you admit, truth is, I don't have that gift, that talent, that skill. Be great to be a singer, but I can't sing. Well, now you get guided to what you can do, what your skills really are. You feel me? As soon as you admit, my political party's gone tribal, dark, and corrupt. Well, now you can start bringing light to that party. You can start reforming it back to character, back to decency and standards, back to humanness. But until you admit how dark things have gotten for anything in your life, or where you're not in alignment with the truth, you got nothing but karma coming for you. And probably others too, because we affect each other. That's this new moon. That's the new. You admit your relationship to truth. You admit your lies. You admit where you are in the dark. You let it all go dark. What does that mean? I'm just going to deactivate. I'm no longer giving that focus. I'm no longer giving it energy. I'm no longer making choices out of the lie or my defense of the truth or my defense of the lie. I'm done. Well, wow. I intuitively see a whole new flow chart of potential for you. Good on you. Get ready to blast off. Might take a while to re-engineer your truth systems, your intuitive systems, your life, but you're going to blast off. You're going to be, yes, that arrow flying out of the Sagittarian bow, hitting a new target. Absolutely. So, truth's an energy. It's not going to lie, and it's going to produce a certain karma. It already is producing certain karma. You want to look at that or not? Here's what we got. We have free will. You can go, nah, not interested, Robert. Don't want to look at that at all. Not interested one bit. And you can make that decision. In fact, we all kind of do that every day. But karmically, I'd have to tell you, you can make that decision, but here's the karma for it. And your karma and your relationship to the truth, check this out, has absolutely nothing to do in the end game with your worth. You're worthy no matter what. You're enough no matter what. But what's also true is, karmically speaking, there's certain potential that can and cannot happen in your life that's predicated by your relationship to the truth. Predicated by the way you tell the truth or the way you lie. That's just a karmic truth. That's a karmic technical thing. You're still enough either way. But one could say there's a journey of suffering ahead, or there's a journey of growth ahead, and maybe even some joy in there, and some new doors opening, and new relationships activating, and new potential thriving. Or there's a darker bottom ahead. Now I'll look at you as an intuitive technician, truth teller in a new truth system and say, what do you want? You got choice here. Come on. Do you want to keep lying and spinning this dark bottom of karma? Or do you want to just go into the unknown and just maybe risk that you might launch off as a rocket before long? Which is it? You do get to choose. So when you are approaching this Monday, this upcoming eclipse, I would highly encourage you take everything I just said in consideration, meditate on it, journal about it, go in, go dark, go to your shadow, evaluate, do an intuitive reading on your own truth systems. And this isn't to do some witch hunt and make you wrong and beat yourself up. This is to get clear on where your arrows are headed from that Sagittarian bow. Maybe you can aim a little higher, or maybe it's just a completely new target. And I think that's what this new moon says. Hey, something new comes from something new. Are you interested? I'm going to eclipse you and interrupt you. So if you've got synchronistic karma, that as I'm even saying this to you through this live, it's like, oh my God, Ohato's reading me. Holy crap. You're in the right place. Synchronicity's talking to you. Your guidance team is saying, hey, it's time to do a power pivot. It's time to do a potential pivot. But it all relies on the synchronicity right now of this moment as found in this eclipse. What's your relationship with truth like? What is that? Do you want to go there and look around? It can be real rough and tumble for any of us to go look in into our lies. Oh man, it's brutal sometimes. I get it. But yeah, the truth will set you free. It'll set you free from all that karma. It'll set you free from all the patterns that you're already in, your current karmic systems, your karmic lessons, if you want to call it that. This is how we actually really do move on, right here, in exploring our relationship to truth. Who knew, right? Who knew? Let me take a minute and let me look at your comments. Oh, you know, if I was going to talk about Sagittarius, Judge Judy was going to be here. You know she was coming. She's a Sagittarian archetype. Don't we love us some Judge Judy? Anyway, I'm going to take a minute and see if there's any questions, and then we'll shut it down. Thanks for joining me for this live. I hope this was helpful. It's always my intention is to be helpful. I know, when you get a dose of truth, sometimes it can hurt a little. Hopefully it hurts so good today. But hey, zap time. All right. I got some people in the house here. Any questions about what I just said? I'll give you guys just a couple of minutes here while I drink my tea. And I'll just fill you in on my little day here. So I set this while you guys are thinking of your questions. I set this live up, and about a month ago, I had a pipe burst in my house, and it flooded my house. And so finally, because of COVID, it takes forever to get someone to fix stuff, So finally, I get a text: the plumber's coming today. So I'm like trying to do this live around when they're going to show up. I'm not sure when that's going to be. And then they finally show up, and I'm like supposed to go live in 30 minutes. So I had to keep pushing it back. So thank you guys for your patience. I'm sorry I couldn't start on the original time, but that's why. Just so you are. Perfect time in Europe. All right. Get to very cool. Yeah. So it was definitely crazy. So anyway, I wanted to let you all know something too. It's been a long time since I've talked about eclipses. So this was really actually a treat for me. And last night I was doing some post-production on some other stuff that I'm up to right now in my membership, and also in a masterclass called the Empathic Soul 2.0. And I started looking at the eclipse chart, and I just started getting downloads. So I literally, for this, I ended up with 3 pages of notes of downloads from this eclipse. And I'm like, I'm gonna do a Facebook Live on the eclipse. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was fun to do. By the way, so next Saturday, you all know I have a thing called the Your Intuitive Edge Premium membership. Doors are open. They only open twice a year. They're open now. Right now, the founder's rate of $25 a month is on offer, and you can join for a year at $240 and get like a discount, right, if you pay up front for a year. Doors close at the end of the year, for one. 2, this price point's never going to be offered again, so get in now. You can keep it for life so long as you're a member. But I'm telling you this because Saturday the 19th, I'm doing module 6 in the membership, which is a holocompass astrological forecast for 2021. So if you want to get that, join my membership. We're going to bang it out. And then I go from there into exploring deeply the Jupiter and Aquarius cycle. I'm going to talk about the Great Conjunction. And then we're going to talk about Saturn in Aquarius as well. And there's a Mercury retrograde coming up in January I'm going to cover. I'm doing a lot of, certainly out of the gate here in the first 3 months of the year, a lot of holocampus astrology, kind of like today, but in different cycles and different themes and different whatever. But I'm super excited about this holocampus forecast for 2021. We have a ton of new cycle shifts ahead. We've got Jupiter going into Aquarius, Saturn going into Aquarius. That is big, super big. And we got that great conjunction of both of them on December 21st, which I'm excited to talk about that. So join now if you want to. Go to my website, ohotto.com. You can see my name there, ohotto.com. The Your Intuitive Edge Premium membership. Click on it, go right to it. You can see actually the module's already listed there. Module number 6, Holocampus Astrology 2021. Get in. We're going to be banging it out in there. And I've got a great community. There's a private Facebook group. Everyone there is amazing. It's an incredible community. So I hope you'll consider joining that. And just anyway, generally, beyond that, on my website now, all like major courses are 40% off if you're interested. The Empathic Soul and Love Rebel, the Empathic Soul Love Rebel 2.0, all sorts of good stuff over there. So I just want to let you guys know about that. Okay, let's see if there's any questions. Oh, Denise needed a reminder today. It's been brutal stripping. I feel you, girl. Love yourself through the going dark, as best you can. Pray. Draw in forces of grace and light. Take care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself as you come to new truths. The truth will set you free, but it can be a little shaky, as you do that. So always remember to do that. I think that's really, really important. Yes, Green Hornet, I agree, Green Hornet, forget politics, read the Constitution. Amen. All right, let's see what else we got. Astrology. Yeah, and so the way I work with astrology is like this. It's what we live. It's looking at it through symbolic lens, an archetypal lens. And I think that's where it's most accurate as a tool. It helps you see more than you do with your five senses. It helps you understand the holographic nature of energies that are moving around. It helps you see into them, understand the patterns, understand the karma. Many of you might have seen, and this actually is on my YouTube channel, that last year in December, I felt COVID-19 coming. I said, look, this is going to be a dark year. Something's coming that's going to shut the whole world down. It's coming around in April. Go watch it. I said that a year ago. I'm able to see and feel those things through this tool. A lot of times it's a helpful guide for me just to see and feel into things. So yes, I work with astrology in a very different way as an alive tool. Obviously, I hope you got that from today. I probably mentioned some astrological things briefly, and then we talk about what it is and what we're living and what the patterns are and what the cycles are and what the potential options are inside of the actual cycles and energy. Fatima, thank you so much, sweetheart. I want to put your comment up just because it's very nice. The fourth level of truth was universal truth. It means it's pretty much true for everybody. Yeah, great question there. How long will we feel the effects of this lunar eclipse? Well, it's a solar eclipse, Jesse, but we'll feel the effects of it certainly this weekend, y'all. Buckle in. I mean, I really think taking some meditative time this weekend is going to be really helpful to you. So definitely this weekend, we're going to feel it. And then I think we're going to feel it all the way through, I would say, Wednesday. It's a synchronistic moment of a coming together of karmic forces and also, I would just say, creative forces in the psychic field. So, yeah, they build. I usually, when there's a new moon or certainly full moon, sometimes I get busy and I forget to track these things, even though I'm an astrologer. And I'll always look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, of course, it's a new moon. It's a full moon. Things in our systems get really energized, which can feel intense. And sometimes that means we feel real depressed. We feel real tired. We feel really triggerable. We feel, we just feel shaky. We feel our anxiety heightens. That can be a sign that you're in that, you're experiencing some of those energies through your own system. Okay. Richard Copeland, what's up, buddy? All right. So someone asked, Trump's chart conjuncting the eclipse, your opinion. I'm going to tell you something about me, just to consider, Deborah. I never read public figures' charts. I don't care who you are, because I can see so much in someone's chart. I think that's a violation. And trust me, you do tempt me. You tempt me, Deborah. But I would actually feel like that would be violating Donald Trump to do that. So I'm an astrologer because I understand what I can do with that tool. I mean, when my book came out, Transforming Fate into Destiny, I got asked all the time to go on TV and talk about people's charts. Won't do it. It's a boundary I won't cross. It's a sacred thing. I'm not doing it. And that's just me. Because I don't feel that that's something I should ever do unless I have someone's permission. Don't think I ain't looking at it, though. You feel me, Deborah? But I'm not. I just don't talk publicly about other people's charts. And also, I've worked with lots of famous people, and I just feel like it's just an ethical thing for me. I won't cross that line. But I appreciate your question. Okay. Why do I always get the energy of dark in people and intuition? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that. Maybe you are. Oh, Phyllis, my aunt's watching me. Ugh, girl, what's up, Miss Phyllis Brando? I love you, honey. I shouldn't say your name. Now everyone's gonna come looking for you. Cool. All right, everybody. Yeah, I would look at a country's chart. Absolutely, zap time. I don't have it ready right now to do that, but. Okay. I'm just reading questions here. Okay. What about the true darkness around? I have realized that those who choose darkness again gain power from it. Let me talk about this for a minute. I'm going to bring this up on me first of all see something, if I can actually pin it. Okay, no, I can't do that. Okay, I'm going to bring this question up. Oh my God, it's so big, you can't see me. So I'll bring it up briefly. I hope I can take it back down again. I had trouble last time. Okay, there we go. What about true darkness around? I've realized those who choose darkness gain power from it, and honestly, I don't get how this works on a chakra level energy. Do you plan a course on lecture on how to help us understand it? I feel we should know how it works as technicians. Okay, so everyone read that question real quick because I got a few things to say about that, and then I'm going to close it down. I think it's a good question to take because I want you to understand. There we go. I learned last time I didn't know how to do that. I want you to understand the nature of power grids in as much as I can teach you in about 5 minutes. We all are a power system. I want you to think of yourself now as really like an electrical grid. It's very accurate energetically to think of, and what she's saying is chakra system. It's another way of thinking of yourself as an electrical grid, as a power system. The chakra system is one way of looking at it. However you want to look at it, just get an image of you, like, if you were looking like at satellite at night and seeing a town that's lit up, like you see when you see, now satellite images from space of Earth, you'll see these towns and, you'll see Rome and you'll see all of its lights, and it's a power grid. You as a person are a power grid. And what's also true is there are power grids that exist in terms of groups. A group is a power grid. A political party is a power grid. Now, when it comes to power grids are simply, if you want to think of it this way, networks of energy, networks of power. But how do we get power to our grid? That's the question. There are some power grids that are vampiric. They take energy from other people to empower their grid. That's a dark power grid. And what you're talking about, Ava, so brilliantly in this question is, what you're saying is, hey, what about the dark power grids around here? Because I feel like they have the upper hand. I feel like they win. I feel like they get, the power. There's a truth in that. And there's also more than that. So what's true is, a dark power grid, like the Nazis were a dark power grid. They had to create a way, a belief system, a brainwashing system, a way to take the power grids of Germans and plug those power grids into their grid, the Nazi grid. And that's what they did through propaganda, through what I call psychic viruses, which is propaganda, through activating the shadow in people and letting those people feel that their shadow was their power and that it should be esteemed. That's what the Nazis did. So what we have now is the same phenomena. I have said to many friends, you want to know how Nazi Germany happened? Look at the United States of America right now and its political issues. Look worldwide. We're not the only one going through a dabbling with dictator archetypes, a dabbling with corruption in a way we've never done before as a democracy. We're not the only one. So a dark power grid, it is vampiric in essence because it realizes it needs more power to keep growing and to keep functioning. If I'm a dark power grid, I'm not plugged into any light source. So I have to take light or power from other people. I can't go to a grace grid as a dark power grid. I'm incompatible with that. Grace grids aren't going to send me, mystical grace grids of light, which exist, aren't going to send me energy to light me up. Hitler could not have said a soul prayer to a grace grid, hey, please empower me more to kill the Jews. Did I just make that real enough for you? But what he could do is engineer a collaboration of dark grids coming together and getting people to go dark to give their power to the grid. So what you see is the same thing happening. There are people on Twitter that are calling themselves conservatives, and they're not at all. They just want power. They want attention. They want your energy. They don't really believe in what they're saying. Half the newscasters I see, I can tell, don't believe a damn word they're saying. It's about, I got to keep dark power coming in. So I got to keep people dark. And for the people that are out there that are feeling dark, that have not yet integrated their racism or integrated their homophobia or integrated their misogyny or integrated their whatever it is. What's going on with them is they now have someone that says your racism, your homophobia, all this is what's great about you. You're really fine people. So what did I just say? It's almost as if a Messiah came and said, all your sins, they're just fine. Plug into me. It's a dark Messiah saying, hey, listen, I'm going to redeem everything dark about you and make it okay. So you can't underestimate that power of someone who has very low esteem, no other way of really being lit up through real grace. And then they have someone come along saying, well, you're just fine. Come here. Come to our tribe. Your racism, your homophobia, your misogyny, all gets to be okay here. We're going to hate that other political party together. It's us versus them. That's some dark shit. Straight up, come on. I don't care what party's doing it. That's dark. And that's how dark grids roll. They need to take dark energy from other people. Keep them dark to stay alive. If those people light up through grace and go, wait a minute, I'm done with my racism. I'm done with my homophobia. I'm done with my political tribalism. You don't care about me. You only care about your power grid and whether I feed it energy. I just woke up to the light. That dark grid will collapse down. It can't sustain itself. Dark grids are not self-sustaining grids of light or grids of energy. To be a self-sustaining grid or a grid that can gain more power, you have to be a light grid. So I could go off into more territory here about what mystical light grids are, what the power of prayer does in relationship to mystical light grids, and how you really actually plug into new power sources of grace, the nature of grace. I hope that gives you a sense, though. Maybe even as you go to this new moon of understanding your own relationship to light and dark. And what dark grids you might be part of that you never thought of that way. You can have a dark relationship with someone where they're vampiric to you. They actually take your energy and your power into their dark grid system as an individual. You know what that's called? It's called the narcissist complex. It's exactly what a narcissist does. It has to take light like a black hole from the space around it to keep itself going in this elusive attempt to find its own sun, its own center, its own star quality, which it never will, in that pattern. Now imagine someone being at the center of a dark grid that's a narcissist, like a Hitler, and drawing energy in the same dynamic. And I want you to look and think about something. How many previously noble, ethical people were corrupted in the last 4 years? That before, they weren't dark attorneys, they weren't dark politicians, but damn, they are now. This is how it rolls technically, if you want to get down into the energetics of it. So the question then becomes, well, how do you light people back up that have gone dark? And that's the question we have to live in right now. And you got to remember, everyone deserves a chance to come back to the light. No matter what they've done, they do. That's a hard thing to say sometimes, but it's true. Everyone deserves a chance back to the light. So that's it. I'll leave you with that light. Everyone deserves a chance back to the light. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this. I will see you next Friday for a social live again, and I'll have a guest, Joey Thurman, on, and we're going to talk about your health, your wellness. He is a personal fitness nutritionist type guy, and a good friend of mine actually as well, and it's going to be lots of fun. I've been trying to get him on this for a long time, and we keep having to reschedule because of some crisis or other, usually mine. I hope you enjoyed this, and check out my membership and also my website sale, 40% off until the end of the year, and the membership doors close at the end of the year. And I hope to see you in the membership next Saturday, y'all, the 19th. I'm lighting it up with some Holy Compass astrology forecast for 2021. I think you're going to want to be there for that. It's going to be pretty powerful stuff. And I'm actually really excited to intuitively connect to the energy of that year and see what I get. I haven't read it fully yet. I've gotten some whispers, but I can't wait to sit down this weekend actually and tune in and see what's coming, just like I did last year. Okay, namaste. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Stay in the light. And also love yourself no matter what, even if you're in the dark. You're enough. All right, I'll see you next time.